You're listening to Comic Reflections, episode 46. I'm Nicholas Prom.
I'm Jeff Barnhart in Thing Orange.
Again!
Yeah, because it's always clobbering time.
Speaking of clobbering, we're going to open the show with a few issues of Conan.
Mm-hmm. They're great. One of the themes in this collection we're doing is the superhero is also a leader, and I like that. I like
a leader of men.
No, a leader of a country.
Oh, okay.
Literally a leader, and president or king. Well, I think it's king in both instances, and I enjoy them having to go through problems, all that, and dealing with the country's issues and all. Although I wouldn't like if they were dealing with taxation, maybe,
right,
or
but
something.
I think when you do with like for instance, Conan the King, which we have an issue of that we'll talk about today. The intrigues within the royal court is very interesting, and it's an interesting contrast, that book, between the stories of Conan the Barbarian, before he became the king of Babylonia.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. But yeah, why don't we start with that? We've got Conan the Barbarian number 16, and
the Frost Giant's Daughter.
That's right, written by Rascally Roy Thomas, and art by Barry Windsor Smith.
And originally written by Robert E. Howard. This is actually a Conan story.
Yes, it is.
And it's been done a couple of times, I think, in comics.
I have read the Dark Horse adaptation of this, which was beautiful, and it was wonderful to think back on that, and remembering that, and reading this for the first time. Now, this is a reprint. This both of the stories in this issue were, I think, appeared in like Savage Tales or something prior to, as kind of a test to see if Conan was something that they were wanting to do a series with. And then number 16, they said, hey, we just finished an arc, let's reprint these in the Conan series. So anyway, what do you want to say about this?
Beautifully drawn, well done. The plot, Conan just almost ended a battle with these red-haired guys, and he's fighting the last red-haired guy, and he wins.
I think they're Norsemen, they're Vikings, I believe. Mm-hmm.
But I think the red hair is what is mentioned a few times on that. So
right.
He wins, and he passes out. He wakes up, and this beautiful girl is talking to him, and she's hardly dressed. They're in the ice-covered, vast wasteland up north. So she taunts him and runs away, and he follows her and meets her brothers, which are frost giants.
That's right.
And he beats them up, and her father, I think, knocks him out or something like that.
Yeah.
And he wakes up and talks to his compatriots. Very nice.
Yeah, they thought he was hallucinating, except what he's got grasped in his hand is part of her garment or whatever. So they know it wasn't a dream. So it's very interesting. And you notice how you really enjoyed the art in this.
Yeah, although Conan doesn't look like Conan, but
yeah, I will say this. Do you remember that issue of the Avengers we talked about maybe a month back? We were like, oh, the good issue, but like, ugh, yuck on the art.
Mm-hmm.
Same artist, Barry Windsor Smith. He started out a kind of popular guy in the 70s, but his art's kind of weird. I like him. My favorite stuff of his is on Conan, but I feel the book itself got much better once Big John Buscema took over on artists. I think that's when the really classic Conan stuff took place.
Yeah. The fight scenes are nice.
There's also a very wonderful pair of issues that Gil Kane did the artwork on, and those are beautiful. I have that in trade if you want to borrow it, Jeff.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah. So there's a backup story. It's called The Sword and the Sorcerers, and this is about a Conan-like character. It's kind of Marvel testing the water to see if sword and sorcery is something that they can profit from.
Yeah, the plot is what's his name? The Star the Slayer.
Yeah.
And he's actually written by this author, and he's part of the comic book story. And he's having these dreams, and after he has his dreams, he writes it down. So he's getting tired of this, so he kills his creation, like Arthur Conan Doyle kills Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah.
But unlike Sherlock Holmes, this Star the Slayer comes to real life and kills the author.
Yeah.
And then wakes up back in his world.
Right.
That's a nice little story, I thought.
Yeah.
Very Twilight Zone-esque.
Very. And there's a couple of things to note about this. I mean, first of all, I want to mention that this also was written by Roy Thomas and art by Barry Windsor Smith. But I think it's kind of funny. Roy Thomas, who also worked at DC, he's kind of borrowing from in the Silver Age, when they established that there was an Earth 1 and an Earth 2, there was a multiverse, they said that the Golden Age Flash stories were dreams that Gardner Fox had on Earth 2, and then the Golden Age Flash stuff was comic book stories on Earth 1, where Barry Allen lived. Okay, well, this kind of plays into that kind of motif, like the comic book writing comes to you in a dream, whatever, but they're a real person on this other world. So I feel like that's a nod to that, especially because I know Roy Thomas is a major comics historian, especially Golden Age stuff.
Oh.
So, and he wrote at Marvel and DC books that were titles that were revivals of Golden Age characters. So.
Star the Slayer.
Yeah.
Which is an awful name.
Yes, it is.
But he becomes a king as well, so that fits in. So
yeah, I mean, this character is Conan, but just under a different name. It
right.
Hates wizards just like Conan, So.
2 interesting ads. You can get a high-paying job in drafting. And there's a Strategy and Tactics magazine, which intrigued me as a kid. And I thought I got some, and I think I had a subscription to it. But
Strategy and Tactics. Now, is this for like tabletop gaming kind of thing?
Exactly.
Okay.
War games and such. So that's kind of cool. That come in a magazine and whole game with, and you can just play it.
That's pretty cool.
I noticed that they mentioned horror frost about twice in the Conan story. Horror frost has nothing to do with loose women. It's HOAR. And
right.
It's not even related. Now, I looked it up in Wikipedia, and I still can't tell you exactly what it is, but I think it's just frost that attaches to leaves and grass and all that stuff. And
interesting.
Yeah. So, but they mentioned it twice, and I thought that was interesting.
Maybe it's in, it played heavily into Robert E. Howard's story, and they just kind of kept the term.
Or it's a Beavis and Butthead thing.
Oh, right.
That's where I'm coming from.
Like a bad double entendre?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hee, they said horror. So.
Yeah. So we've got Conan the Barbarian number 44, written by Roy Thomas, art by John Buscema. Now, this is the Conan run that I love. The story is Of Flame and the Fiend, and it's a Conan and Red Sonja team-up story. They did a number of these over the years, and really, Frank Thorne, the guy who drew Red Sonja's book, I'm not a big fan of. I love the way John Buscema draws Sonja.
Yeah, Red Sonja. Is it Sonja?
You can say it either way.
She has the best costume ever.
Yes, I'll agree to that.
I think Frank Thorne's wife would wear the costume, and I think I saw a picture of him and his wife, and she was wearing the costume.
I have seen. I think what you're talking about. I'm not sure if it's Frank Thorne's wife, but it is someone who is in comics. I almost want to say it's the gal who worked on Elf Quest or something like that, who would go to cons and she looked the part, and she had this perfect Red Sonja outfit. Yeah.
Okay.
I have to look it up. I wish I knew the anecdote there because I'm familiar with it. So.
It's really good story and some really creepy things. Conan gets captured by two warlocks, male and female.
And they're brother and sister, aren't they?
I believe so. Maybe there might be something else going on. Who knows?
Yeah.
They are kept alive from getting this essence from these humanoids that have been sucked out, and they're kind of creepy,
Subhuman kind of people.
Yeah.
And they don't even have noses anymore.
Right.
It's devolved humans, you might even say.
Mm-hmm. And the guy forces Conan to procreate them.
Yeah.
So that was handled well, and it's kind of creepy.
Yeah. And the guy wanted to have his way with Sonya, too. He wanted to break her will. Mm-hmm. Didn't happen.
Correct. We have our first villainess of the podcast.
Second, the Frost Giant's daughter.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah. But that was a theme you want to go. There's plenty of female villains in this episode.
Yes. And they're well done. I like different types of villains. It just makes it better.
Well, yeah.
And especially when they surprise you. Oh, didn't see that coming.
Yeah. And femme fatales are very interesting. This one is kind of tragic, too. A bit.
I didn't weep for her when she died. I was happy. But it's a great battle because you think she's won, but she's actually lost. And that was pretty well done. Let's see. Red Sonja and Conan escape. Red Sonja knocks out Conan, so she's a good character.
Oh yeah, she's really great.
But an interesting escape, and it's really cool. I'm not sure what else to say about it.
It's a good reading. I mean, it's Conan comics aren't a hard sell because they're almost always good. You know, so our last Conan book of the episode is Conan the King, number 22, and the lead story in this issue is The Black Dragons, written by Alan Zelenetz, maybe it's Zelentz, and art by Jeff Isherwood.
Very nice. And this is where he's king, but he's poisoned, so he's kind of out of the action, and that makes him really mad.
Yeah, Conan isn't the center of this story, of either of these stories in this issue. But it's cool.
The Black Dragons are an elite unit.
They're kind of like his Imperial Guard, almost.
Or Immortals, or
something, but yeah.
Let's see.
They're sent out to find what?
His son was killed by Baron Maloric, and they're trying to find out information about it. So they go in this horrible land.
Right.
And there's a newbie, so we're seeing the action through his eyes.
Right. A new guy in the Black Dragons, right.
And they have adventures, and they finally find some clues. But the clues were planted there, so
right.
I would like to see what happens next, which is a sign of a good comic book, or anything.
Yeah.
What happens next? I'm interested.
Yeah. Yeah, don't they fight this big, like, horrible bog monster, too?
Yes, and all kinds of things happen. So, some kind of acid...
Oh, that's right, it has, like, acid blood.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
And evil snakes. Oh, are there any other kind? Yeah.
Well, yeah, there's all kinds of intrigue going on in the royal court, and we see that, that somebody was, talking about plotting to try and, seize power from Conan, and, that his son's death was, part of the, like, let's get rid of the heir kind of thing.
Let's see, her name's Zenobia, is that it?
Are you talking about Conan's wife?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's a real person.
Yeah.
Queen of Palmyra. So, but wrong time period, though.
Well, okay.
But that's fought against Rome and did fairly well for a while.
Yeah. It's funny, in the King Conan comics that I'm reading, the new stuff from Dark Horse, I believe she's just being introduced as someone that Conan is rescuing, so that's kind of interesting.
Yeah. Conan loses one son, but he has a Taurus, a weak son, who has telekinesis, and you feel sorry for him.
Yeah. So, but there's a backup story in this issue, and as it turns out, this is it's Conan, son of the barbarian king. Kon, or Conan Jr.,
Yeah.
he was not killed, but his family thinks he's dead. And he's sold into slavery.
Yeah.
So this story is somewhat mirrors his father's. He's definitely his father's son.
Right. He's sold into slavery and saved by this girl, and she gets killed, and he runs away, and he feels bad about it, which is kind of a cool ending.
Yeah.
And so, but you think he's going to get revenge, but he can't get it because he doesn't have a weapon.
Right, and he thinks, well, there's a wonderful line actually. He's saying, his father, he's remembering something his father taught him. He says, vengeance is the most important thing to, to take upon an enemy. But then he says, I would avenge her, but I am unarmed. They'll overwhelm me. And what vengeance will I have achieved then?
A girl with no name.
Yeah.
To be continued.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah. And I should add, written again by Alan Zalentz, and art by Mark Silvestri, who would later go on to work on the X-Men and his own creation, Cyberforce, which sucks, but notable.
Yeah. The Conan books of Robert E. Howard are kind of, they copied a little bit, at least the idea, from the Harold Lamb books. There's a Cleet, I think that's how you pronounce his name. He's a Cossack. He's this old guy, and he goes around fighting. And there's not much sword and sorcery, just a little bit.
Yeah.
But mainly and I think the same thing with Conan. He goes somewhere, he's thrust in some kind of adventure, and he uses his fighting skills and intelligence to get out of it. And how's he going to get out of it? You don't know. And the Harold Lamb stories are really well written, and I'll bring you some sometime.
Okay.
But they're really nice, and I can see where Robert E. Howard got his stuff. No, nothing bad on Robert E. Howard, but he didn't invent the genre.
Yeah, so. I gotta say, I love one of the things I love about Conan is he has this brash, bold attitude, but always has the means to back it up. There's no just tough talk and then backing down or whatever. He'll spit in your face, but he won't, not fight. He's always ready to go.
That's cool. The reverse would be interesting as well. There's a Harry Flashman, which is he'll talk tough and then run away, and that's entertaining too. But you ever read the Flashman books? They're wonderfully funny and on PC, but he's a coward and a brute and a bully, but it is very entertaining and very funny.
Right on.
All right. Next one.
We've got Daredevil number 23. It's DD Goes Wild, written by Stan Lee. Wonderful art by the great gentleman Gene Colan.
All right, Daredevil's fighting the Gladiator, the Masked Marauder, the Dancer, the Mangler, the Brain. He's fighting all these people in front of a bunch of other people. And
I did tell you that Daredevil had this great rogues gallery in the Silver Age, and you said before that you didn't know there was a Daredevil before Frank Miller, and believe me, there is.
I knew that. I just didn't. I really read them.
Well, I know. I didn't mean you literally didn't know, but I mean that there was anything notable. The Masked Marauder was a guy who was pulling a lot of strings for quite a bit of the Silver Age Daredevil run, and the Gladiator showed up a lot too. And it's cool to see them together in this issue. And it's a weird plot. Daredevil's been captured and forced into combat with the Gladiator.
And he's sent with this device to another location. And then they send off to another location in this arena built for a Colosseum for a Roman movie. And in Europe. So D.D. finds himself in Europe without his wallet and a change of clothes. And he's blind, of course.
Yeah.
But he fights the Gladiator in this arena. He beats... he knocks the gladiator into a lion's cage, and the lion starts attacking the gladiator. And Dee Dee saves the gladiator, and the gladiator refuses to fight him because he was saved by Dee Dee.
Sure,
and I like that.
Yeah,
villain with honor.
Yeah. One thing else I wanted to tell you about the story is the mass marauder that set up this whole thing because he wanted to impress the Magia mob bosses because he wanted to take over. I hate that name, the Magia. The Magia. It's Marvel Comics. They're like, well, we can't say the real Mafia because that's a real organization, and these guys live in New York. They don't want anybody to say bad things about it. DC, you would just refer to it as the underworld. But I just think, good grief, you got to come up with something cooler than the Magia because it reads so awkwardly.
This was right after The Godfather, and The Godfather couldn't say Mafia because the Mafia would beat him up or kill him. So.
Yeah.
I think a few years after this, the Mafia is really crushed, so it's not an issue anymore.
Well, yeah, I mean, like Whitey Bulger, he's like on trial right now. They actually caught him. He'd been on the lam for years and years. So, interesting, though. What, real life?
Yeah. Okay.
So we've got a couple of Batmans. We've got Batman number 346, and the lead story is Half a Hero, written by Jerry Conway, and very nice art by Don Newton, inked by Frank Chiaramonte. And it's a Two-Face story.
Oh, you said Superman. Okay. Oh, okay. Never mind. I got confused. Sorry. Very good. It's a very clever way he gets out.
Two-Face?
Yeah, using the hologram before it was a hologram to escape prison. Oh,
I liked this, but it's been a week for me since I read it. I'm actually don't remember the majority of the plot. Two-Face escapes prison.
Right. Commissioner Gordon's having trouble with the new mayor.
Oh, Mayor Hamilton Hill.
Yeah. And, I was just thinking, what a great character Commissioner Gordon is. He's one of my favorite comic book characters. No superpowers whatsoever, but just an interesting character. And he's always fairly interesting, even all through the history.
Yeah, I think he's just kind of I feel like he was kind of just somebody to talk to at the police, like if you're talking about like Silver and Golden Age stuff. But the Bronze Age, Commissioner Jim Gordon became like a three-dimensional character, and it became very interesting. I will agree.
Let's see what else. Two-Face leads Batman into a trap.
Surprise!
Yeah.
That's never happened before.
And then, and here is a femme fatale, and he dresses up like Two-Face, and Two-Face and Batman fights her, but they're in a...
And this is someone that Two-Face is romantically linked with?
Yeah.
It's got to be a trick.
But it was interesting plot. You put Batman into a room filled with poison gas. He cannot hold his breath very long, and he can't hit a woman as much as he would a male.
Right. So
he loses.
Yeah.
And that's how the story ends, and that's really cool.
Yeah.
There's a really expensively done Atari ad.
Oh, and yeah. This is all high gloss, 2-page, 4-page ad, really. Mm-hmm. Oh, well, 3.
Well,
the 4th page is a nice full color house ad for DC.
And we see our old friend Eric.
That's right, Eric and the All-Star Squadron and House of Mystery.
Captain Carrot, don't know.
I read an issue of it. It's stupid.
But the kids look really worried when they're playing Atari.
Yeah, well, Missile Command's kind of a tough game. It's awesome. But, yeah. But I think there's a backup story in this issue, too. It's called In the Land of the Dead, and it's a Catwoman solo story. Written by Bruce Jones and art by Trevor Von Eden.
I've read the story before in the Best of Catwoman trade.
Oh, cool.
I am underwhelmed by this story. Very well drawn. I like Catwoman fine. But the idea, all right, World War II, this German spy, had a diamond
He
with H-bomb instructions written on it.
like coded, like he used a diamond cutter and cut it into the. That's I thought was ridiculous.
And he loses in a train. So 40 years later, they're looking for it in the train. And
There's
how
got
long
to
do
be.
those cars last?
Well, and
5 years?
and 40 years, there's got to be an easier way to find atom bomb formulas, you know.
Yeah.
But I mean, beside that, like, that's kind of far-fetched. I like the plot. I like the revenge that because the guy who was the diamond cutter villain, Nazi, he was captured or killed by Catwoman's father or grandfather.
Mm-hmm.
And so the guy who is looking for the diamond now, he's not only does he want the atomic secrets, but he wants to kill Catwoman. But the thing is, his plan is so elaborate and is set up to like make these like train cars disappear. It's like, obviously you got money. How come you couldn't just buy an atom bomb from the Russians or something?
Yeah.
Then we wouldn't have this story.
Right. The train looks stupid too, but I guess Amtrak They make sure you know it's Amtrak. I think Amtrak was brand new at that time, so it's really cool.
Oh yeah. Usually you don't see brand names used or mentioned in things.
Okay.
Normally they're kind of like say something else that's similar.
It's a government agency.
Amtrak is?
Yeah, it's owned by the government.
Oh, so
it's like postal service.
So you can say that.
Right.
Right. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But if it was Coca-Cola, forget it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Unless they pay.
Product placement.
Cool death panel.
Yeah, the very end, last page. Yeah, the bad guy hit by a train. Awesome. I like that.
Yeah, not bad.
Yeah. So we have an issue of the Batman Family, number 5, and the lead story is it's a Batgirl and Robin team up, The Princess and the Vagabond, written by Elliot S. Magan and Cary Bates, with art by Kurt Swan. Yes, that Kurt Swan, and Vince Colletta. It's weird to see Kurt Swan do something other than Superman.
Interesting. Although he does do Superman, because Superman's in it, or Clark Kent is.
Yes.
I like the. Man, that's a complicated one, so take notes here.
Okay.
We have a Princess Evelina, who is a hip, new, caring princess.
Of some country.
Yeah. And Alexei Bruno, who is this writer who's from a peasant.
Yeah.
I guess here from Eastern European country. And that's what the impression I got.
Yeah.
And they're both targets of this group called Maze, which is really cool. And they don't use this group. It's an evil organization, and they don't use it only a couple of times in comics.
This is the first encounter I've had with them, so.
Yeah, but it's actually a clever plot. They want Alexei. They want to kill both of them, so they have Alexei kill the princess by having a fake Alexei.
That's right.
Yeah, pretty cool.
So, and Barbara Gordon is a congresswoman at the time. This is all taking place in.
Yeah, what's up with that?
She was a congresswoman for a time.
Man,
and then they decided, like, nah, let's have her go be a librarian back at Gotham and be Batgirl more.
Mm-hmm.
Because how can you really be the people where you have a very busy career and you're a superhero?
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to buy,
Yeah.
Clark Kent is a great when he was a newspaper one, not in the 70s when he was doing the newscaster. It's terrible. But that's the perfect job because you're always out of the office. A lot.
Thor is a doctor about the same way. You're operating on somebody. Oh, gotta go. There's a lot of difficulty there.
Yeah.
And Congresswoman, it sounds sexy, but it's not.
I think they probably realize that.
Yeah, people like librarians. I work in a library, but there's a motif of the sexy librarian who's got her hair bun and glasses, and she goes wild, and then she gets off.
Yes, we've all seen the Hot for Teacher video.
Right. We have our third or fourth villainess, and I liked her because she looked like the girl next door. And
Oh,
this is very differently. She's not a femme fatale.
yeah.
She's just a sweet kid.
Let me back up.
Oh.
Or Dick Grayson is showing Alexi around Washington, D.C., and ends up saving this, or around the country, I should say, rather.
Mm-hmm.
And this girl is almost killed, like, in a quarry or something, and Robin saves her, and they just pick her up. I guess she was, like, hitchhiking or whatever. But she turns out to be an agent of Maze, the villain organization. So
that is well done.
But you totally buy it from the word go.
Yeah. It's usually the femme fatales are sultry and all that. Not just sweet faced cornbread Western girl.
Sure.
I thought that was a nice change.
Well, right. It's actually quite clever. Batgirl, as she's investigating this plot, is captured by the bad guys, and I think she encounters the Alexi's double, and in a building that's about to be demolished too. She's tied up.
Of all things, on a ceiling light,
Yeah.
which I guess it's in the bad guys' contracts. They can't just shoot somebody.
Yeah.
Or
you can't tie somebody up without telling them your whole plan.
Right.
It's like a Republic cereal all over.
Yeah. But she escapes, saves the day, beats up the girl villainess.
Because only a woman could punch another woman, of course.
Mm-hmm. Actually, she slams a door on her.
Wow.
I was impressed by that.
Yeah, you definitely wouldn't see Batman do that.
Mm-hmm.
But, so yeah, they uncover the plot and they save Alexia and the princess. Yay!
Yeah.
And it's all good. And then their seed is planted for like a friendship or a romance between the two. Not Batgirl and Robin, but the writer and the princess.
I thought Maze was very clever.
Mm-hmm.
And although they did have to put Maze on all their equipment, so you know who they're working for.
Yeah, very, very clever with your secret evil organization.
But it was a good plot.
But if you put your name on something, you can write it off for tax purposes. So that's important. Mm-hmm. So we've got a couple of reprint stories in this issue of Silver Age Batman stuff. The first is Ace the Bat Hound from Batman number 92, written by Bill Finger with art by Sheldon Moldoff. And boy, this is a notorious story.
Really?
Oh yeah, Ace the Bat Hound.
Okay, I was having my doubts about it, and I'm glad it. Really stupid headgear for the dog.
Well, here it's so funny. Bruce and Dick they find a stray dog, and they can't find the owner right away. So they've got to go and fight crime. So they got to go and Robin makes a mask for this dog and brings it with him to protect the dog's secret identity.
Oh, I forgot about that. That's good.
Yeah.
You have, as in all Batman, or at least a lot of them, big creepy clowns. In Batman, large items. They always got a big penny, big dinosaur, big this or that, and
big cake, big slot machine. Yeah.
Right, and this one, clowns are creepy as they always are. I really hate the Batmobile in this. The big mask on the front. I've always never liked.
I would just look at a big bat face on the front. Yeah. Well, it doesn't. Oh, that's Batman's car, obviously.
Oh. Yeah, don't like.
Batman should go. The Batmobile should be a little more incognito, a little more subtle.
No, I don't care how.
It needs to have red racing stripes, like on the old show with the cool bubble.
That is the greatest car ever made.
Dude, I love that car. I'm not being facetious or sarcastic about that. That car is so great. So
Drew Carey made a whole episode on getting the Batmobile. And that one. So it's just perfect. Yes, sigh. I think Signal Man's even stupider than Ace the Bat Hound.
Yeah, we'll just skip over the Ace of Bat Hound story because it's dumb. But the Signalman, what is the story? The Signs of the Signalman from Batman number 124, again written by Bill Finger and art by Sheldon Moldoff. This is another stupid Batman Silver Age. I find Batman, I like Golden Age Batman, but his Silver Age stuff is just largely unreadable. You know.
When was this written? Do you have any idea?
That's going to be 50s.
Okay. Yeah, it was dumb.
Yeah, late 50s. But the signalman, he gets out of jail or busts out of jail, and he wants to prove what a great criminal he is, and wants people to join his gang, and by beating Batman, and well, it doesn't happen, and it's terrible.
Okay.
And that's all I gotta say about that.
Moving on.
Moving on. So we've got the Challengers of the Unknown. Number 51. The story is Smash the Sponge Man or Die, written by Bill Finger, art by Bob Brown.
Oh, wow. I looked at this and said, oh no, this is going to be stupid. But I was pleasantly surprised. Wonderful story.
Yeah, and in this, the Challengers team up with the Sea Devils. So that's cool.
Yeah. Great story of redemption. Oh, the military is making this undersea base to protect us from undersea attack.
From undersea commies, I'm sure.
Yep. And I'm like, really cool looking undersea tanks and missiles and all that. Very nice.
I thought it was weird. They built a dome city under the water with tanks and missiles. Where are you going to shoot it?
Oh, good point. Well, the tanks are coming out, but the missiles are... Maybe they're on the outside, we just don't know. I don't know. They're inside.
So anyway.
Bad design there. Someone needs to be fired. They're building this base. Angers the Sponge Man. They exploding dynamite and it kills a bunch of Sponge Man's friends. Sponge Man looks kind of like the Thing, but
it
sounds stupid, but
porous.
it's really cool. And he sucks in stuff, which is cool.
So a bit like the Absorbing Man. Actually, quite a bit like the Absorbing Man, because he seems to absorb other properties of things throughout the story. Although I'm not sure if this story predates or comes after Absorbing Man's introduction. Wait, we read the Oh, it wasn't the first one, though. Never mind. It doesn't matter. But this is a cool story. So the Sea Devils come in contact with him. They know who the Sponge Man is. He's a guy. He used to be human. I
forgot how he
was mutated somehow. He became the Sponge Man.
Yeah, and he was in love with this girl, and he's shy.
Yeah.
But so they're fighting him, and the Challengers come by, and the Challengers the girl is the Sea Dog is trying to make her boyfriend mad.
She's trying to make that's right. Judy is trying to make Dane, who's ignoring her or not paying enough attention to her, she tries to make Dane jealous by making goo-goo eyes at Ace. And that's the big theme throughout the issue. The military have brought the Sea Devils and the Challengers together to try and defeat the Sponge Man. Otherwise, the military is going to kill him. And I didn't know this, but the Sea Devils seem to have this giant robot.
Yeah.
Which is rad.
It looks like the Colossus of Rhodes, but it's kind of bronze colored.
Yeah.
A couple of ads I enjoyed.
Okay.
Dragon complaining. You need entertaining. Read DC Comics. Like
great house ad.
And the great Jimmy Olsen. Jimmy Olsen as a rock and roll star, Texas millionaire, underworld trigger man.
Oh, it's the Jimmy Olsen 80-page giant.
Greatest masquerades. And his pal Superman. And the Mobster's Mall. And the Mobster's Mall, he dresses like this redhead girl. And he's going out with this mobster, and the mobster wants a kiss, so he happens to have a chimpanzee handy, and he makes him kiss the chimpanzee because it was fun.
You remember this story fondly, I can tell.
Yes.
So how is it that the Challengers and the Sea Devils come together? Oh, wait, there's another force of villainy to be reckoned with in this story.
It's Scorpio, and they're trying to destroy the base, too. Right. And cool outfits. They're numbered each other 1, 2, and 3.
Which Marvel would do later with the Secret Empire. They would do a thing like that too, and that was a cool villain organization as well. But yeah, just robed and hooded villainy and numbers. So,
I think we must admit that the Sponge Man's kind of Kirby-esque.
Yes.
But
remember the Challengers were created by Kirby, so this is in his spirit, you know.
Mm-hmm. Well, one cool scene is that Sponge Man sucks up color, so the rest of some of these panels are in black and white.
Except he's in color, which is really cool.
Mm.
It makes for a very interesting comic book read. In fact, he even sucks up sound, and so like Rocky and Ace can't communicate with each other.
They have to use sign language.
Yeah, which they do.
Mm-hmm. And so they find the girl that lived next door.
They've
Miklos.
They've captured the Sponge Man. Miklos is his name. A Greek guy. Oh, a shy Greek guy? What?
Yeah. Yeah. So she tries to help, but she's actually a spy. She's our next villainess.
Isn't she in league with Scorpio? Right.
Mm-hmm.
Too perfect.
Yeah. And they catch her out because she left a button with some blue thread. And they're wearing, let's see, the Sea Devils wear yellow, right?
Yellow and red costumes at this point.
And the
Sea Devils
wear red and white, and the Challengers wear yellow and red.
Right.
But she happened to wear blue, so
yeah,
big mistake.
Yeah.
She should color coordinate better next time.
Yeah. So anyway, the Chals and the Sea Devils kick the crap out of Scorpio agents, and
say that. But they had this bomb that has. Is it a nuclear bomb or is it?
It's a bomb. I don't remember. It's nuclear.
It's a super bomb, WMD. And the Sponge Man is changing back to a human. But he sees the bomb, and so he saves.
Oh, it's a poison gas.
Poison gas. So he absorbs the gas, but he knows he's going to die. So he gets redemption, and I like that.
That's great.
Cool.
Yeah. So yeah, no, I enjoyed that story a lot. It's a lot of fun. Very well written, Bill Finger, So. So we have our next issue. We've got Challenges of the Unknown number 79. Now this issue reprints stories from the first 2 issues of Challengers.
Yeah. 1958. Challengers 2.
Yeah. So I mean, the Challengers debuted in I think they did like 4 issues of Showcase before getting their own book. But these are from the first 2 issues of their own book. So, but the lead story is The Monster Maker, and it's written and illustrated by Jack Kirby.
I wonder.
You wonder?
If when they were making this, we got this. That somebody, the head of DC, said, "Let's have a lot of monsters. We'll put Jack Kirby on it." Or did Jack Kirby think of a comic book with a monster maker so he can draw lots and lots of monsters? Because that's what Jack Kirby's really good at. Well, one of the many things he's good at. Making monsters. Does he enjoy it, or does he? It seems like he does. It's fun.
Yeah. Good question. I mean, now these early Challengers issues are from the 50s, and big monster books, that was the thing. So it's kind of keeping with that science fiction and radioactive monster theme.
Yeah.
So it's a good
monsters
question.
Are scary.
So, but the story itself is really cool. There's an enemy of the Challengers. He steals this device that allows him to take, things from his imagination and make them real. And so he's making all these monsters that they have to fight, and it's like wreaking havoc. And this guy's robbing stuff, and
he wants to, and he shows the viewer what he's going to do, and he makes these huge Godzilla-sized monsters, and then he makes these robots that will suck up money and people.
Yeah.
Really, I love Kirby monsters.
They're
so cool. And the robots and anything. Actually, I like about everything he does.
Yeah. So, but the Challengers, they're talking to the scientist who created this thing. And he's like, the only way you can do it is fight fire by fire. So this scientist, they treats, I think it's Ace, and who they seem to like to make Ace the lead character in a lot of these. Although I think Rocky, Red, and Prof are all awesome. Although I think Red is probably the least interesting. It's like, what do you do with Red?
He's a leader.
Yeah, but so Ace also has this power temporarily, and so they go through all this stuff where he's just creating counters to whatever the villain makes. But I thought it was weird that their plan wasn't like, hey Ace, distract him with this, and we'll sneak around behind him and beat him up, knock him out.
Yeah, they do.
They don't do that.
Yeah. They put him in they put him in the middle of mirrors so it confuse him.
Right.
They put him in a jail cell. And then finally they hypnotize him. So it finally works. But you get some cool fights with cool monsters and dragons and vacuum machine, and they throw acid in the vacuum machine and it melts. It's pretty nice.
Yeah. I
Pretty
thought
nice
this was a
one.
really fun story. So they beat the guy, and then Ace gets treated, and they take the power away.
Mm-hmm.
So that's about it. But it's a cool story.
Yeah.
So the second story is called The Human Pets, and this is from Challenges of the Unknown #1, and it's written and illustrated by Jack Kirby again. The challengers are kidnapped from Earth by this giant alien child and taken to another planet.
I wonder if this is the first time this has been done. I'm probably not. It's probably.
I feel like I read an EC Comics story that was
I'm
similar
talking
to
about
that.
in science fiction story.
Oh.
I'm sure it has been.
Yeah.
It sounds. I know Star Trek did an episode, the original Star Trek.
Oh, sure.
And if I mention Star Trek, it's the original Star Trek.
Oh, of course.
Because I don't care for any others.
I'm not too crazy about the rest myself, so I'm with you there.
Really
but,
cool.
Yeah, maybe it's not original, but it sure is fun.
No, I mean, I'm just curious if it's where the idea came from.
I don't know.
But the challengers find this sphere that comes from outer space, and they get in the sphere, and they...
I like the farmer calls him up. Oh, are those Challenger fellas still staying at the old Whitman place? Whatever. And so he calls them up, and they just come to this guy's farm to investigate.
Yeah, that was fortuitous.
Yeah, no, it was great. But anyway, they get captured by the orange sphere, and they go to this other planet where they're the captive of this child.
Mm-hmm. And it's pretty cool. The child has this cool cat-like creature that's mean and nasty.
Yeah. They're kept in a jar, and he's hiding it from his parents, and they're trying to escape. And yes, they've got to use toys and things to kind of fend off the pet cat, which is really cool, and also to try and signal the parents.
Right. And when they finally signal the parents, and the parents make things right.
They make him put them back.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Which is what happened to Star Trek in episode. I don't know if Star Trek the writers read this, or was it another... Who knows?
Who knows? It's probably an idea from somebody pulled from a pulp, or any number of short science fiction stories.
Mm-hmm.
So, but here is a wonderful treat. We've got DC Superstars #7, and this is a reprint book. The lead story is Between Two Dooms from Aquaman #35. Art written by Bob Haney and art by Nick Carty. And it's Aquaman against the Ocean Master and the Black Manta.
I had not seen the Ocean Master before. His name he gave himself is Orm Marius. Marius is... I'm reading this my favorite series of books, the First Man in Rome series, and Gaius Marius is a real person who was a great Roman general and kind of set in motion the events that destroyed the Roman Republic. But Marius means Mars, god of war.
Makes sense.
Orm means worm or dragon or serpent. So it's very well...
Yeah, that's aptly named, and I think Orm, the Ocean Master, he's Aquaman's half-brother, was probably patterned after those. He was probably named those very... on purpose, with purposeness.
Yeah,
but
you would hope so.
But the Black Manta shows up and he invades Atlantis with his Manta Men, and boy, are they creepy.
I did not know that the Black Manta is black.
You didn't?
No.
Nope.
I had no idea.
Yeah, he is. He's a black guy.
And nice story. Here is Aquaman being a king.
Yeah.
And dealing with it. So he's in charge of Atlantis, and they get poisoned. The water gets poisoned, so he turns the Atlanteans into air breathing instead of water breathing, which I thought was kind of drastic change.
I thought I think it was Dr. Goofball, whatever his name is. He looks like a terrible Flash Gordon supporting character.
Yes.
I can't remember his name. Dr. Volko inoculated them a lot, giving them the ability to breathe air, not necessarily taking away their water breathing ability.
Oh, okay.
Dr. Volko, that's right. Yeah, but
Yeah, it looks that way.
Aqualad and Mera and Aqua Baby are in the story as well.
Hmm.
Aqua Baby is actually a big part of the plot.
Indeed. Very much like Super Baby.
Yeah.
Very, it gets in all kinds of trouble. A Rolling Stones advertisement.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting. It's sort of why I guess kids listen to rock and roll, but you don't. This is the first I've seen it in a while. I think I've seen them before, but sober age. It's
I mean, yeah, I notice ads for records in comics mags. You definitely see it like in the I think it emerged in the 70s in comics. So like, oh yeah,
and
music
this
ads.
was the 76.
Yeah. Although the stories reprinted are earlier, but
right. Okay. Marius, or the Ocean Master, attacks the city, poisons it. Black Manta. Oh, am I getting mixed? Is it Black Manta attacks? And
I thought Black Manta
I
attacked.
think Black Manta.
Yeah. And Orm just kind of shows up. They weren't necessarily teaming up, but they just happen to both be in the story. Yeah.
It's a pretty cool story. Very well drawn. I don't read much Aquaman.
Yeah, I like him a lot. I wish we had more Aquaman stuff on the show, and I'm sure we will.
Yeah. The Ocean Master is saved by Aquaman, or is
Aqua Baby.
Aqua Baby. So
from the Black Manta, that's right.
Mm-hmm. So they start fighting, and Ocean Master. Oh, well, Ocean Master is his half brother. Is Aquaman's half brother.
Yep.
All right. Okay. Things get complicated in comic book worlds.
They do, and interesting because Ocean Master is normally quite villainous, but in this he's fairly sympathetic.
Yeah. He has honor.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things.
I think he fights Black Manta just because he's not going to let anybody else defeat Aquaman and take over Atlantis. It's got to be him. But he saves Aqua Baby, and that's good. And then Aquaman and them beat Black Manta. Yeah. So that's about it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, there's a nice splash page about the diabolical demons of the depths.
Yes, it's a 2-page spread of just spotlighting some of Aquaman's foes, and 3 of them I know are recurring villains. Ocean Master and Black Manta, of course, but the human flying fish is another one.
Okay.
Even though he's the most ridiculous looking of all the other villains. So.
The Liquidator looks interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what okay.
Yeah.
The Ocean Master looks different there. Oh, the triple threat, the awesome threesome, Magneto, Torpedo, and Claw look kind of stupid.
Yeah. I mean, Aquaman isn't known for having a great rogues gallery.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, people don't remember the human flying fish. I mean, it's pretty much just Ocean Master and Black Manta.
Black Manta's pretty cool though.
Yeah, and I love when he uses the laser beams on his big helmet.
Mm-hmm.
He's really awesome, and they've used him very effectively in the current Aquaman series. He's really, really a formidable villain.
Mm-hmm.
So, but anyway, the backup story in this is Some Call It Noise, and it's an Aqua Lad and Aqua Girl solo. It's an Aqualad and Aquagirl story from Teen Titans number 30, written by Steve Skeets and art by Nick Cardy.
Okay, we get this gentleman who falls from a tree trying to save a cat, gets injured. They give him an experimental hormone, and he goes crazy. Aqualad and Aquagirl go to a rock concert at the same time.
Yeah.
And they collide.
Yeah.
And the villain / victim. Yeah,
the crazy guy kind of bursts in on he escapes the hospital
and he's upset about noise.
Yeah.
So where does he go? He goes to a rock concert.
Of course.
So
and he starts basically causing trouble there.
Yeah, and they had trouble because the Aqua people can only stay on dry land for an hour before they have to go back to the sea. And it doesn't look. Can they not Is it the sea, or can they just get in any water?
They can get in any water. They can drink some water.
Well,
It's
what's
just
the big deal?
exactly. But
Oh.
the plot on this one, thin.
Mm-hmm.
And but anyway, yeah, Aqua Girl gets knocked out by the crazy guy, or and wanders off, and then Aquaman beats up the crazy guy and has to find Aqua Girl, and they make it back just in time.
Yeah.
The resolution is,
It's okay.
But I like the art. I like Bob Haney's art. Or,
Yeah.
Excuse me, is it Bob Haney's? Nick Cardy's art. Excuse me. Or Haney wrote it. So, but anyway, to the last stretch of the show today, we've got 3 issues of Superboy, and the first is Superboy number 157. The story is "Get Lost, Superboy. Who Needs You?" Written by Frank Robbins, with art by Bob Brown, and inked by Wally Wood.
Yay!
Who I love.
Okay. In the story, an albino white ape is enraged by a white jock doofus. He escapes. Superboy controls him. Then they inject him with this serum, and the serum is contaminated, so he goes crazy. He dies. He's dying. So
Yeah.
Superboy has to go get superfood. So he goes to a red sun planet to get bananas that look like bananas. So he has to fight a red sun ape there, and he doesn't have superpowers on a red sun planet.
Right.
So he comes back. The jock eats some of the bananas, becomes superpowered. And then everyone thinks that the jock is actually Superboy. And so, but Superboy wants him to continue to being considered to be Superboy, the jock to be Superboy. So he gives him superpowers, like he uses a laser vision,
right,
and he jumps in front of bullets so he won't get hit.
right.
I think all he has is super strength.
Right, he's not invulnerable and he doesn't have the other powers, but he has super strength. Could he fly? I think maybe he could fly.
No.
No? Just super strength. Okay.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Well drawn. And I like Wally Wood.
Yeah, me too. Well, no, I like Bob Brown's pencils. Wood really brings out. It's a high quality collaboration. I'll say that.
The Silver Age and whatever age we're in now.
This is Silver Age still, I think.
No.
Oh, currently?
Yeah.
In current comics? Okay.
What is that? What
we just call it the modern age.
The modern age. They're a lot cleaner than the Bronze Age. The drawing style and the art is clean and not simpler, but it just
crisper, kind of. Is that what you mean?
Crisp and more bold and dramatic. Maybe, I don't know. That's just the impression I get. I don't know if it's the paper or what.
I mean,
the colors are more or brighter
in current comics.
No,
actually,
in current as well. But that's because they use computers.
Right. Well, and the paper has changed, and just it's a different. But I'm not sure I can really comment.
Okay.
I do know that Marvel always used cheaper paper. Well, for a long time, used cheaper paper, and so their white paper, it would always be kind of off-white. And DC, they were for the longest time they were the leaders, so they had a higher quality brand of paper. Their paper was white, and so when you look at Silver and Bronze Age DC comics, wow, the colors often look far more vibrant.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, well that maybe explains it.
And that was kind of the way until the 80s, and Mando paper and Baxter paper, and experiments were made with that. So.
But it's a nice story.
Yeah.
We have a nice advertisement for Giant Superman with 2 beauties. The first Supergirl and Lori the Mermaid.
Yeah.
Oh man, he has a Brainiac and
Metallo.
And Mela, Superman's first Kryptonian foe. Cool.
I always like those, the 80-page Giants stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I loved that especially in the Silver and Bronze Ages, DC and Marvel both, along with new material, were always putting out and reprinting classic stories, which is great for new readers.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great jump-in point at any point. So I think exposure to that history that a lot of these characters have is always very important. And I always appreciate when that's done. It's not something you see as much now that we have trade paperbacks. You don't see the titles that are reprint titles anymore.
Yeah, that's kind of sad.
Yeah, I wish that we still had those, alongside trades, because I think that would be a good jump-in point for new readers.
I would like that.
Yeah.
There's a advertisement for someone I never heard of before, Captain Action. So.
Well, you remember the Captain Action doll, where it was. You bought the Captain Action doll, and he looks like he's got his police officer's hat or whatever, pilot hat, and he just kind of, I don't know, he looks like Nick Fury with a hat, but and no eye patch. But you could buy different costumes. The whole thing with Captain Action was like he was like a master of disguise, so you buy a Superman costume or a Captain America costume, and you could put it on this doll. And yeah, he did have a comic book series for a while.
And do you know who his main villain was?
Dr. Evil.
Is that interesting?
Yeah.
DC should sue and Austin Powers.
Well, I don't think that.
Oh, I'm joking.
Well, yeah, I mean this is a licensed property anyway. Mm-hmm. The Captain Action from the toy, and then I think it lapsed. In fact, I don't even know if the Captain Action people can use that name. The Austin Powers, I think they're actually totally safe in using Dr. Evil. But anyway,
we have some advertising in the back. Oh, what do they call these? Teenage light drama.
I mean, well, it's their Archie style comics.
Mm-hmm.
And DC had some of these too. Binky, Debbie's Dates, Scooter.
Scooter is a Beetle light person.
I guess.
Yeah. Oh, I looked him up. He is indeed. I read about him in James Lilacs on site on the Bleat. Oh, they're stupid. But people like them. There are people still buying Archie comics. And yeah, I like the way they're drawn, but I've never been amused by them.
Well, right. It's kind of like, I guess I'm not like, it's for somebody who's not interested in really stories so much, but more than someone who likes to read the funny papers. And they're very different. It's basically like having a comic strips in comic book form, and they're very different. I think the comic strip is just kind of who cares anymore, and comic books are rad and a half.
Okay.
So,
not disagreeing, but I enjoy your enthusiasm.
Well, thank you, Jeff. So we've got another Superboy with the same creative team. Frank Robbins writing, Bob Brown and Wally Wood on art. It's Superboy number 158, Superboy's Darkest Secret. Yeah. And this is great!
Yeah, too bad we can't tell the audience because it's a secret.
Oh, yeah, we can.
Okay.
But it's another one of those adding to the legend of being rocketed from Krypton stories. Mm-hmm. And it's wonderful. And I think Wally Wood's inks really shine on this issue.
Oh, yeah. I didn't look to see who drew it.
Yeah.
Oh, very well done. Ma and Pa Kent don't look like Ma and Pa Kent that I think of. And Dad says, who are these people? Oh, they're Ma and Pa Kent.
Yes, they look younger because it's Superboy, So.
Oh, yeah. Oh, why don't you explain it?
He goes into space. I'm going to need your help because it's been over a week. But he goes into space and here's a signal from Jor-El. It's a message that they're in space, and so he's coming to find them, and they're like in this coffin rocket ship or whatever, and he meets this other Kryptonian, or
Zonar. Oh no, Dr. Krillo,
yeah,
who is trying to help him because he accidentally killed his parents.
Right.
But he didn't really.
Right. But yeah, there was an alternate way for them to save themselves on Krypton, was to go through this treatment and go into a death-like state. and to be replaced with
Xylo. Is it crypto gas or something like that?
right. Well, they didn't know that this was going to basically become a deadly, like a form of kryptonite. That the kryptons would become this radioactive element that that was going to be deadly to them.
No. They were sick before they did it. They were going to die. That's
right, of radiation poisoning.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I told you it's complicated.
It is complicated.
Okay, I'm sorry. I should have.
But anyway, Superboy ends up he finds his parents, but he can't save them from this death-like state because to reverse the process they went through would kill them with kryptonite radiation.
And they would die a horrible death.
Yeah. So.
And Dr. Trillo feels sad. He thinks he killed them.
Right.
So he says Superboy.
Mm-hmm. And it's cool. Pa Kent goes out into space with Clark on this mission. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's pretty nice.
But to see outer space stuff and the on Krypton stuff, this is where you really see the Wally Wood, because he's totally in his element in a story that involves space travel.
It's Quilo gas.
Yeah.
Oh, they had K radiation sickness.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, nice story. Very good.
I mean, it's a bummer.
Yeah. Although he says he can't tell anybody, but I think people understand. If you wake these people up, they'll die a horrible death. So, would people disagree with that?
I don't know. It's kind of it goes back to, remember, this is before we had these, right to die kind of debates, or kind of it's kind of a weird moral, what do you do?
I mean, right to die debate's been going on since time immemorial. But yeah, there is a modern right to die, but it's not really. I'm not even sure.
It's an inversion of that, but I think it's playing on some of those themes.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah,
it's a good story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's depth to this. This is a hard one to talk about on the air.
Yeah. Couple of interesting ads.
Okay.
There's a battleship, North Carolina model. And
Ravel.
I made this.
You made this, really?
Yes, indeed. I actually threw it away a few years ago. Man, loved it. And there's a Angel and the Ape.
Oh, house ads.
Yeah, boo. I did not like this.
You didn't like Angel and the Ape?
No.
There seems to be a fond remembrance of that with a lot of people. I recently read a revival of it, and it was it's kind of funny, but whatever. It's nothing that I would be all excited about. Oh, I wouldn't go and get Angel and the Ape, their own title.
Yeah. Angel wears nice miniskirts. That's all you can say about it.
I like the lower half of that house ad with the Teen Titans. That's a pretty dynamic. That looks cool.
That is. I would like to read that. So it's done its job.
Yeah, we do have a few issues of Teen Titans that we'll talk about coming up. I'm not sure when, but so our last issue for today is Superboy number 192, and the lead story is The Deadly Dawn, written by Cary Bates, with art again by Bob Brown, and inked by Murphy Anderson. I think that's 4 issues today with Bob Brown. It's the Bob Brown episode.
Yeah. So there's 3 themes going on today.
Oh, Bob Brown, female villains, and
King, superhero kings.
Yeah. Yeah. Who was the one besides Conan, superhero king?
Aquaman.
Oh yeah. Sorry, I forgot.
Oh, and the Stalker, the other story in there, he becomes king as well. The story with the author dies because
the Conan.
He's becoming a king as well.
Okay, from the Conan. Sorry, the Star of the Slayer.
Yeah.
Yeah, bad name. Okay, so The Deadly Dawn.
Oh, there's this moonstalker going around causing trouble, wearing lead so Superboy can't catch him. But he's just doing it at night. Then we find out that he's allergic to the sunlight. Oh, and he's got these two minions helping him out. And we find out, they try to catch Superboy, and then we find out, Superboy finds out that they're Mom and Pa Kent. There's Pa Kent in another story. That's integral part. He's just not saying, "Well, be careful, son." He's actually in it.
Yeah. And I think that kind of helps make a Superboy story a little more interesting.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I usually am not so into Superboy stories unless the Legion of superheroes are in it.
Oh, I love the Legion.
Next couple episodes following to this one, we'll have Legion of Plenty.
Hoorah.
Yeah.
Trying to think here.
Is it the Moonstalker?
The Moonstalker is trying to make Smallville into a sunless environment.
Mm-hmm.
Much like Mr. Burns on The Simpsons. So Superboy gets with Pa Kent and fights Moonwalker, and or the Moonstalker.
I think it's the
Moonstalker, yeah. Oh,
tears his helmet off, and the kid's blinded by the sun.
And then he finds out, hey, everything's okay. Then he says, I'm sorry, and I won't do it again. So he becomes a nice guy. Superboy sends him to a childless couple.
In Smallville to be adopted.
Right. I mean,
where have we seen this before?
I don't know.
But the thing is, it's like we never see anything about the Moonstalker again. Like, wouldn't that be an interesting character to go with and do something?
I wonder if this was a trial. So, let's just see if people are interested.
Well, sure.
And nobody wrote back. So
that makes sense. I think a lot of characters they do that. Like they would gauge, like, oh, what's the reader response? Do we want to see this character again? And that happens. Nice little house ad here for Commandy, the Last Boy on Earth, which is one of my favorite things Jack Kirby ever did. It's probably my favorite. I mean, either this or The New Gods are probably my favorite thing that Kirby did at DC when in the 70s. And we will have a handful of Commandy issues to talk about in the future.
My favorite thing that Jack Kirby did was comic books.
Just in general.
I guess I was disappointed with the Don Rickles one.
Oh, you gotta let go of Goody Rickles.
Yeah. Corgi Boy.
Oh yeah, Corgi.
Hot Wheels.
Were Corgi, was it a model building company?
It's a Hot Wheels. No, it's Hot Wheels ripoff.
Okay.
So.
See, they weren't around when I was a kid anymore. There was Matchbox, but it's like Matchbox was weak. We wanted Hot Wheels.
Mm-hmm.
So, but there's a Super Baby story. Let's talk about that. One more story.
And this is the last.
Yes.
Oh, there's an advertisement for Sonic Sound racers. They're little sports cars, whatever they do.
They have that ripcord, and then they go fly off. Yeah.
And they're tested in a wind tunnel.
In an advertisement, which is weird. It's like that works for television.
Yeah.
Let's turn that storyboard into an ad into a print ad.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like that's what that is.
Yeah. Okay.
But anyway, we have Super Baby's New Family, written by Leo Dorfman, art by Bob Brown, and ink by Murphy Anderson.
I don't know about Super Baby. I always enjoy them, I guess, but yeah. It's coming back in mind, and this is really stupid, but I'm enjoying this. What can I say?
I find it, oh man, when I found, like, oh boy, if Leo Dorfman wrote it, it's going to be like really Silver Age style, but really dumb.
I don't know. Well, Super Baby's new family is a family of bears.
That he's stealing food from the pantry to feed. Mm-hmm. How nice of him.
Yeah. And, he saves a bear from a steamroller. Why would you use a steamroller in in the park.
Here's the thing: if they're clearing land to build something,
They use a bulldozer.
well, right? But after the bulldozers that gone through, you might use a steamroller to flatten out the land. If you're going to just put pavement on top of it.
Well, you flatten the pavement. That's what steamrollers use.
Oh, okay.
Get her.
Well, we'll take it up with Dorfman, okay?
Okay. You might be. But we see bears flying, while Superman is flying. Oh, Super Baby falling. Super Baby leaves his imprint in a boulder. Oh, yeah, fun ensues. These two poachers come by and try to shoot the bears, but they almost hit Super Baby, which doesn't matter. So Super Baby brings a hornet's nest to them, and they run and get captured. They got ducks. They're shooting ducks, and they got ducks tied to their belt. It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
You're in a clink for a few ducks. Arr! Like I just get my hands on that weirdo kid.
Yeah.
Pretty nice.
Good. I would have got away with it too if it wasn't for that pesky Super Baby.
Yeah. I would not want a Super Baby as an infant. That would be bad.
Yeah.
Although, would a real super teenager be any better?
Yeah.
But he wouldn't have to borrow your car, so and you don't have to worry about him getting DUIs.
That's true. Flying under the influence.
Yeah. The one before with the ape. Oh no, with the guy eating bananas and the ape.
Yeah.
The guy's name is Bashford.
Yeah, terrible name.
Yeah, but I'm wondering if I got superpowers, would it be more like Bash or Clark Kent or Superboy? You know.
Well, I think that part of the whole thing is he has this very morally straight upbringing from Ma and Pa Kent. They taught him right from wrong, and you know, I think that's part of the big important thing. I think that's why Ma and Pa Kent exist as characters. It's because to show like, hey, you know, like giving that instilling these higher values. I think that's one of the big points of Superman stories. So and you know, a real superhero has, you know, is morally straight. So
it's interesting that they're making more Bashford type superheroes. Guy Gardner.
Oh yeah.
Lobo.
Well, I mean, these guys are creations of the '80s, but I mean, Guy Gardner he's mellowed somewhat. He's still brash, but he was never not in the right place as a hero. He was never crossing the line. Lobo is just a mercenary. He's just a bad guy. But
totally amoral.
Yeah.
I read his comics for a while. I kept up with him.
Yeah.
Just, okay. He killed a bunch of people. Okay.
Yeah. But Guy Gardner is actually pretty interesting as a character. And he's obnoxious, and so
there may be a Lobo movie.
They've been saying that for a while. There may be all kinds of stuff movie. We'll just have to wait and see. Yeah. I'm not saying I wouldn't go see a Lobo movie, but I would never endorse Lobo as a character that has any redeeming value to emulate.
And a character doesn't have to have redeeming value to emulate in order to be good. You can have a bad example character, which would be fine. But I think it's just he's doing bad stuff, and you're enjoying him doing bad stuff.
But you should never make somebody who kills people look cool. You know, who's like that's their MO is we kill the guy every time. You know, that's why you know people have trouble with the Punisher for that very reason. It's like
Lobo killed his entire planet for a laugh.
Yeah, it's true. He is the last Zarian. So, but anyway,
it's fun to see him against Superman.
Oh yeah, because it's really fun to see him against Superman because they're so different, and their dynamic is, you know, it's. You know, a pairing of opposites like that is really great. So, anyway, I think we ought to wrap up for the day. So, yeah, until next week.
See you.